Hello, hello, hello. Let's make a few adjustments here. This. Turn off the water flow. And I will try to make it a little bit better looking right here. Okay, let's go. Testing. I hope you can hear me well. Continue experimenting. Oh, this is my water turning off. So just bear with me here. I am stirring everything up. And hopefully we're gonna get rolling shortly. Just setting everything up here. So turn this off. We got 3 people. Hey, how's it going? Niagara Fire Corals. That is one of my favorite recent YouTube channels. So the ones that I found, and he is a true coral whisperer. So highly recommend anybody who's joining in to check them out. And also phenomenal reef keeper. He's got the corals that I can only dream of. So welcome everyone. I think we're slowly rolling everybody in. I'm just gonna get some water, put on my gloves. Now the real question is, why do I have water and not anything better? I have no idea. So maybe I should correct that. Okay. I think we're doing something a little bit different this time around. I figured everybody's got enough of my face when it comes to videos and whatnot, but you know, the reason why we do what we do is coral. And whenever I come downstairs here and look at the farm, I want to share that with some of you folks out there, and just kind of do it as a mutual activity. This is a perfect opportunity for us to cover a few topics. Maybe show you a couple of corals, some of the things I've been working on, and just kind of go from there. But this is the tank. I think I shot my last live stream about a week ago. It was very well received, and I was complaining a lot about the overall state of the farm and the fact that things were not very well organized, and it's getting a little bit better. I think if you can see now, so the thing that makes or breaks the look, and right now we're kind of in the middle category here, is the rims. So this is a Eurobrace tank, and when it comes to a Eurobrace tank, you've got what makes a Eurobrace is this little thing here, the piece of glass all around. And the cool thing about it is that one of the reasons, I'm sure some of you know it, but whoever doesn't, you basically divide your aquarium into 2 halves. So that increases the sturdiness of the aquarium, how much water it can hold. So think of it this way: glass bows, and you've got seams that may leak and all of that stuff. And the higher your tanks are, the more pressure is applied to the tank. And there's many calculators out there that kind of give you that rating for the aquarium. So when you do have this little rim around your tank, what happens is you ostensibly slicing the aquarium in half. So you've got the lower half and the top half. So if this tank, for example, is 16 inches, you could say that really with a Euro brace, it's the same as if it goes through the same load as the tank that would have been 8 inches high, but no Euro brace. So that's kind of how I think about it. And I love Euro brace. I like the rimless tanks as well, but Euro brace is awesome. I can have my glass of water or bottle of water here, and it's kind of awesome from that perspective. But I digress. The reason, like what makes or breaks the Euro brace tank, is the cleanliness of that Euro brace. And I've cleaned it maybe 3 days ago, and you can see already that it's no longer transparent. It's kind of opaque, and that's a problem. And it's unfortunately a problem with any type of Euro brace, especially if you've got lots of water and there's like little splashes and stuff like that. So that's long-winded way of doing it. Now, great question. Is the tank Euro braced on the bottom as well? Yes. When I was doing the tank, I wanted to, whenever I can, I would overdo things when it comes to this type of thing. So yes, it's Euro braced at the bottom as well, which is nice from the security perspective, but it's horrible for the flow and just placement of coral, because you are basically eating into a lot of space. So I don't really like that, to be honest with you. Let me show you. I'm going to put the water here. Let me show you what I mean. So, and as I'm starting to get into the tank, I will have to wear gloves. And I've shared that in the previous podcasts. Why? Because I've developed some sort of a allergy to salt water after touching coral so much. Let me just put on my little rubber band. So give me a second. Here it is. So I've got my rubber band, and with the rubber band, I can easily go in and do stuff. But let me show you what I'm really talking about here. Let me see if I can see the camera a little bit better. Right over here. Yes. So where the Euro brace is, I've got all these corals. Okay, which one are we picking today? I call it like an apex color. It's gray and pink. We've got the red and yellow. And we've got the blue one, blue and yellow. So which one are we going to use today? Make a choice. I'll pick that particular color. By the way, I make all of this, and I've designed all of them myself. And while you think, I will turn on a little bit of whiter color just to get things looking a little bit better, even better on the screen. So bear with me here. Reef Farm. Thank you very much for all your nice comments for my last 2 videos. So I shot a whole video about the color and how to bring out the color in coral. And then I shot a second video in which I showed, let me just do this. Yep. Hold on a sec, 10K. So maybe that will be a little bit better. Just like that. And then I shot a video on lighting. And I thought that was pretty awesome as well, because in that video I just kind of covered the all of my light schedules, and I did the par measurements and everything else here. Okay, let's see what has everyone said is the tweezer that I have to go with. So hold on a sec. This is not helping. Live chat. Okay. Viewers. Where's my live chat now? Sorry. I think every time I get a little bit better at this. Okay. Nobody has said which tweezers to use. If that is the case, I'll pick the blue ones. Today is the blue tweezer day. Okay. Reef Fireworks. Love your content. Please talk about any MT dosing that you do to bring colors on your acros. Can you tell me what MT stands for? It's Amazon. Well, everybody can see it. Any MT dosing. I'm really curious what that is. Oh, minor trace. Gotcha. Okay. So, minor trace. I've had these ones for a while now. I think I got them last year, and I was dosing these 3 bottles as per advice of Fauna, and I've done it, and I stopped doing it about 6 to 8 months ago. So I did it for maybe 4 or 5 months, and then I stopped. But recently I've started to use Fauna for supplementation of calcium, and right now no alkalinity, so I do a little bit of trace when it comes to calcium, but it's very, very minor. So the answer, and I think if you watched my previous video, so not the last one, but the one before that, not the kind of live stream, but the actual video, what I've done is I did stop dosing anything other than kalkwasser and alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium whenever that's needed, which right now was a mixture of things. It was Nios for a little bit. I've actually used Nios alkalinity for a very long time. So probably over a year, maybe 2 of Nios. So the ones that I used to use before, I'm not going to name a company, but was I'm not going to give any hints. But when I switched away from them, like, it was more of a it came in like bags of things, and so it was probably cheaper, but when I started doing it, it actually I didn't get very good results. But when I switched away from them and I started using Ninus, I actually saw some improvement. But I stopped dosing anything right now, and I'm just doing kind of an experiment where I'm just really working on doing larger water changes. Yes, it costs me more when it comes to I guess the dosing aspect of it, the saltwater aspect of it. So I go through a lot of salt. I've gone through lots of boxes of Reef crystals, and I've recently switched from Reef crystals to the Fauna Marin. So I've switched to that about I want to say a bucket and one bucket. So I'm now completely finished 1 bucket of Fauna Marin, which probably would have lasted me 2-3 weeks. 3 weeks, I want to say. Maybe a little bit more, depending on how you count. But yes. Anyways, that's my Fauna Marin. And this is what I've been doing with trace. I do believe in trace. I think it's a good idea. But I just, unless you start... You have another extreme, which is the moonshiners, and I refuse to buy all those little bottles and have that kind of regimen. And with all my respect to the moonshiners, it's more of I don't want to have this crazy dosing of daily elements and all that stuff. Like I'm trying to keep things as simple as possible. But yeah, so if you can see things right over here, you'll see that I've got some corals that are growing, and they're on this 3-inch plates or 4-inch plates. And the problem is that they kind of, there's this offset from the wall of about 2 inches, which is the size of the Eurobrace, which means I'm losing so much space inside the tank. So I don't like it from that perspective. And the second reason why I don't like it is, it floats, is the fact that I cannot bring my, say, MP40s all the way down. They have to be, that thickness of the glass. And sometimes when you've got all this, like if it's a shallow tank and you've got all the frag racks and everything, I want a lot of flow underneath. I want to flow on the top, and I'm having some issues with that. So that is my story with the Eurobrace. Perfect. So let's have some fun. Let's actually take a look at some of the corals. I'll show you a couple of things that I have been doing to just kind of improve upon the tank. So right now I'm looking at this farm. There's many things I need to do better. So this is me putting on my little trusty band. So this way I can just go inside and do things. But let's take a look. So this is, for example, a coral. I've had this colony for probably, I want to say, a year. It grew from one frag to something like this. It's a nice looking tricolor acro of some sort. But notice what I have here. This is a little 1/4-inch tube. It's not a tube, it's an acrylic rod that I've cut. I did a whole video on this recently as well, but this is a piece of a putty, and I just kind of sandwich that, and then this way I can now have a system, the pegging system, where I can just take this coral, and in my rock I have these holes that I've made, and I can just go in and place this coral right over here. So and it just stays there, which is awesome. And I can do this with my LPS coral. I can do that with tons of my acros. Like, this is a really awesome way of doing it. So here's another one. You've got this needle in a haystack right over here. Again, gotta find a spot. I've taken some corals out. So, and let's see if I can kind of go in and find a place. Maybe we can squeeze them right over here. There's a little hole there. Okay, so now it's there. The only issue is it's a pain trying to find those little holes in the rock, and especially if you forget where it was, like, it's almost impossible to find it unless you gotta have this kind of top-down view as I do. Okay, so here's one more. So one thing that I'm starting to now realize is that it kind of makes sense to have a few of those serve as a placeholder. I'm thinking I'm going to build some sort of a little rock on top, and then I can just keep them kind of plugged in, and then if I need to go in, I will just yank it out, put a coral in, and then if I have this coral out, I'll put this little plug back in. So, okay, so we've just taken, so I've got this other colony. It's some sort of I think it's my hairy styles. This thing looks like it gets super hairy in a good way. So this is the one that I have right over here. So let's bring him over here. So that's pretty cool. What else? So one thing to watch out for is when the coral starts to grow on top of the other coral, or especially if you have some encrusting corals, they start touching the rock. Like, I have an issue right over here that I think I'm going to have to... oh, no, sorry. This is a separate rock. This is good. So it's a little bit easier than, I guess, to do it otherwise. So why don't we take this little guy and put him right over here. I think this would be a pretty good spot for the guy. And do I have a little hole in here as well? I think so. I can place some sort of a coral in this hole. This beautiful flow as it kicks in, and you can tell me what kind of questions you want me to answer. Now let's use this opportunity to our advantage and come up with a few topics. I've got a few. I really want to cover some of the this kind of summary of the year and what I think. I'll tell you what I want to talk about meanwhile, and that is I'm really concerned about the state of the hobby and how expensive it has become and how prohibitively expensive things are for especially new people that are just getting into the hobby. I've been doing this long enough to remember the sure. And I think Mike Paletta did a very good article on Reef builders where he showed that if you take inflation into consideration, it's actually not that more expensive from that perspective. So just everything came up. So it's really the inflation is not our hobby, which I do agree. But at the same time, I find that it's just a little bit harder, especially with the hardware, with everything else. It just things add up, and so I can see this being intimidating. And plus, back then, there was no such fascination with high-end corals, and nowadays this is it's the thing, right? A lot of people care about this very expensive coral in my tank, just because a few times when I did, a lot they have died, and that was a huge detour for me. So I stopped carrying corals that are more than say $80, $100 tops. But it's good to have sometimes friends or that you can trade with, or somebody is going to give you something, and vice versa. Like this makes the hobby a lot more palatable. So from that perspective, I think we're still not too bad. So have good friends, and don't get too stingy with your coral, because they'll pay you back, hopefully, if you have good friends. Okay, let me turn off the flow again. We've got a little bit of a flush. The system is going to make a really funny noise every single time when it happens. I think that people think that I'm farting, but I'm not. Or maybe this is the opportunity I use to actually do the fart. So I may be holding it in and then just kind of going, okay, this is the time for me to do it. No, this is my overflow. Okay, so while I was talking, I just cleaned up this little rock here. So I removed that chalice that kind of grew on it, which is great. I think I've got another visitor right here. I've got an Aiptasia. Oh my. Okay, what do I do about these Aiptasia? What's the best way to get rid of them? I'll tell you a great story about Aiptasia. This is something that has formed me as a reefer, and that happened a couple of years ago when I was starting to set up my farm. I kind of went at it the right way. So, everybody has Aiptasia. Everybody's got all the different things. They just probably they're not really telling you. But, and I'll explain why it's such a pesky animal. So I've had Aiptasia in my system It was another farm back in the day. And when I was building, a new tank and everything, I figured, okay, I will now get rid of all of my Aiptasia. I will go in and set up a double quarantine system. So there's going to be a tank. It's going to every coral let's say I'll take from my reef, and I will first plug it. Delete the plug. Not delete the remove the plug. I will cut off the base. I will dip it. I'll wait a week. I'll dip it again. I'll wait a week. Then I'll move it not to the farm. I'll move it to the second stage. So the second coral system, and do it again there for about a month. And then only then it's going to go into mixed reef. So I've done that. I've been doing it for like 3 months, 4 months, just kind of going at it one coral at a time, or like a batch of corals. It was fun. Well, it wasn't fun. Who am I kidding? But it was doable. So I felt that I was doing something really, really good for me and for my corals. Until one day when I'm working on my second stage quarantine system. And I'm looking at corals that have been there for about a month, all the dips and everything else. And then I see a piece of Aiptasia in that second stage. And when I saw that, and I realized how tiny those buggers are, and all it takes is one, like it's impossible to get rid of, at least for me. So I literally threw in the towel. I said, forget about it. I'm not going to do that. And I have switched to prevention, maintenance, or what's the best way to call it? I guess you admit that you have it, and then you just make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. And so far, so good. I've had it like this for, I don't know, 3 years, 2 years. And, I would have Aiptasia in my farm, let's say in the overflow, but I would never have it kind of in the main area. But never say never. Like once in a while, these things do pop up, and you just got to be on top of it. So ideally, if you can not have it in your system, that's great. I wish you all the best. But I think that it's very hard. And I noticed that I breed Bergia nudibranchs for them. So listen, I wish you would be a little bit closer. I'd love to get some of them from you. But my question about the nudies is, what happens if I heard if you have a strong flow, then it's an issue. Can you comment on that? I really would love to understand how that works from that perspective. Okay. And what else are we saying? How often do you change water and what percentage? I'll answer that in a second. Reef fireworks. And then we also have Aiptasia doesn't Ray Soenjaya. I hope I haven't butchered your name. Aiptasia doesn't bother me anymore. My peppermint shrimp keep them in check. This is a great idea. I think I bought some a couple of years ago, and that helped. But then, eventually, like, you never know whether you have them or no, right? Because they kind of hide, and then eventually start losing them over time. But I should invest. Where in Toronto? Who do I go to? Who's got the best? Because there's all these different types of Lismata snails and all that stuff as well. But who do I go and talk to get the best peppermints? Or is it peppermint or is it Lismata? I'm curious. So let me know. And hopefully I'll pick some up. So they do fine in my SBS system with MP40s and 2 RW20s. Very strong flow. Nice. Okay, it's a deal. Let me know when you coming down to Toronto, if ever, and I will place an order with you. Just heard a strange sound in my basement. Whenever you hear a strange sound in your fish room, you always get concerned. You know what? I think my corals are starting to look a little bit. I don't want to say washed out, but they are slightly less colorful here in this system. I think that's the result of my nitrates bottoming out. So I have not checked my nitrates in a while, and I think my nitrates were 0, which is never a good thing. But I cannot get any nitrates anywhere in Toronto right now. So I've ordered some, but haven't gotten them yet. So, and it might still be a couple of days, maybe a week before I'm gonna get it, which kind of sucks. Maybe I'll have to drive over to some store and pick one up. What do you like to use to increase your nitrates? I wonder. Write in the comments. I'm very curious. I've done potassium nitrate. I've done the ESV nitrate. I've done, I think, the Brightwell one. Kind of like the potassium nitrate a lot because you were also dosing potassium, and that was kind of fun. But I'm not sure if that's still the best out there or there's anything better. Yeah. Okay, this coral is stuck. I'm gonna have to do something there. Okay. Well, that's cool. I'd love to know. Well, okay, heavy feeding. Okay, I actually gotta go visit March. What does March sell? What kind of nitrate does he sell? I'm curious. Is it ESV or is it something else? And the next question I have for you is when you say heavy feeding. So I feed a ton, and I think I have a very healthy load of fish. But my nitrates have always been there would always be 0 unless I supplement my nitrates. And whenever I just feed more, like I feed a lot. I do feed a lot. Maybe I feed too much of the frozen food. Sorry, dry pellets. Maybe I should do a little bit more frozen food. But when I start feeding even more, then I think my phosphate starts creeping up. But my nitrates are always 0, no matter what. So I'm really curious why do you think that is the case? And like, what am I doing differently? So, and while we talk, this is what I'm doing right now. So I've got these blades. I usually buy a set of 100, and they are super useful for when you work on the tank and you've got all that growth and all that algae, like the coralline algae and everything, just to scrape it off at the bottom of the farm. Now, whatever you do, don't get the farm. It's unless you enjoy doing it, unless you like, and I actually don't mind. I don't mind, for example, cleaning the skimmer. It's not something that I dread. So like if I have to do it as part of my chores, it's totally fine. It doesn't bother me at all. I actually like cleaning dishes and all that stuff. So I'm totally cool with that. And that's why I do find this. This is what I think my hobby is really all about. So, but it's not relaxing in the sense of just sitting in front of a tank. Hello, reefing fam. Ooh, oh my goodness, we've got Okay, I gotta do. We are joined by my favorite avatar of them all. Hey, Dave. I just I keep going back and forth between Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel, and I just don't know. On some days, I wake up as a Peter Gabriel guy, and then on the other days, I'm a lot more of a Phil Collins. And you know what? If I were to pick quickly just one, I'll probably go with Phil Collins personally. I really like him, and I admire him for sure. Yes. My tank looks like a washer machine, and I've had great luck with Bergia. So I don't get that reference with the washer machine. Why? I cannot imagine that. Sorry. Can you please elaborate on what you mean by that? I'm curious. I'm very curious. Okay, we've got more folks joining in. So, and that's just so I think of this right now. I wish I could offer you folks some coffee as well, and just kind of look at that. We've got a snail. You know what? Some snails have been dying on me lately, but this guy is semi-healthy. I feel he is. Yeah, I think he's gonna be dead soon. What do I do? Keep him around or? See, he's kind of moving, but he's not moving like a good snail, like a healthy snail would. So I'm going to put him right on the shelf here, shelving, and then let's see what will happen next. Maybe double check on him in a couple of hours or give him a day and then see if he's moved or not, or she. So, yeah, so I think of this as kind of a leisurely chat with a few like-minded folks that enjoy reef keeping, and it's kind of nice when you can exchange some stories and also some experience, because at the end this is probably one of the most rewarding aspects of this hobby is kind of striving to get something exceptional when it comes to some results, like I mean have like a real nature reef and go with that. So all right, we've got Hey Reefers, Atkins Nature Aquarium. I have a snail like that too. It's not dead yet, but not doing anything, barely moving. So I think he's not gonna do well. So he is not okay. So I've got something else. You know what else is not doing too well? If you look at my videos, you would have seen me complain about the powder blue going after my sailfin. So similar sailfin as this guy that I'm poking right now. And, you know, he's been at him for about a month. Eventually I went in and I actually caught him and I moved him to my coral quarantine system. And he would eat for maybe a day or two, but was a little bit peckish. And then over time, he just stopped eating, and another day later I just found him kind of swimming like this, so kind of sideways, and then in a few hours it just died. So but I moved him away from the powder blue. I figured that, you know, he should be able to recover, and he did not. So I'm curious, what do you think was the reason, and if there's anything I could have done, and like why do you think he died? Because I haven't introduced a single new fish in my system in probably, I don't know, a year, give or take. Like there's just no space, so I have not done any of that, and yet So it would not have been a disease. So why did he die? Okay, we've got Reef Fireworks says, I removed some excess live rock and noticed my nitrates gradually rise, but phosphates being same. Maybe having excessive denitrifying bacteria will bring down your nitrates. So yeah, I think this is actually a very good guess, because I think I've overdone it when it comes to live rock. I have so much live rock in this system, and I've got like Cyperax, and I've got things in the baffles and everything else, and I think this thing probably doesn't help. Now, if you listen to my friend Adam at Frag Garage, and if you don't, definitely go and subscribe to his Beyond the Reef podcast. He's awesome. What happens is he talks to all the farmers out there. Look at that. There's another dead snail. Ooh, and there's still some smell in this thing. Ugh. So that's a good thing. I'm going through this. So it just goes to show you, it's very important to be on top of your tank. And I've been neglecting it somewhat for the past little while. But right now it's winter time, and this is where it's actually very exciting to be spending time with our loved ones and the family, of course. Anyways, what I was saying is when Adam asks all those questions of people and says, what's kind of your methodology, or what's your belief in terms of how much live rock you need to have, it's kind of all over the place. You've got reefers that are farmers, so these folks know what they're doing. I think I just bumped something. Some farmers basically are going to not believe in live rock and are going to have a lot of it, and some just have a ton, and they're both successful. So just goes to show you. But I guess your point about the nitrates and all that stuff stays, and I think you might be right. Maybe I just have so much denitrifying bacteria. Okay, but where does it go then? Where do you think the nitrates go? Good question. I'm really curious. Now, I've also done one thing, and that is I've replaced my glows here in the farm with grows. And while I like it aesthetically a lot more, I'm wondering if I'm missing out on the whole deep purple color. So maybe I should be bringing it back. Not sure. Let me know what you think. How important do you think is the glow versus grow, and how important is this UV channel and all of that stuff? Really curious what you have to say. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the flow once again. That tells me that we've been at it for a while now. Oh wow, we got 23 people. Okay, Phil Collins solo is my favorite. Okay, I hear you. Maybe. My favorite album of Genesis is Mama, for sure. I think it's the pinnacle of whatever has been done with the sound. Okay, what other things are we saying there? But all the other snails, fine. Stress from aggression from the powder blue, but I've never kept multiple tanks together, just my observation. So I love tanks, and I want to have more, and I am also very curious about angels. The only angels I've kept were the Coral Beauty and the Flame Angel, which obviously both are awesome, and I absolutely love them. But I want to try something else next. I want to try my dream is to actually have an emperor. So that is my absolute dream fish. Well, other than powder Powder blue is still probably up there. Just go onto another side of this farm, and I can just clean things up over here. So yeah, that would be probably the fish I really want to keep. I've never kept it before, and I'd be really excited about it. So that's the angelfish is where it's at for me. Okay. So this is perfect time to be doing this type of live stream because this is holidays for many people, and it's a Wednesday that feels like a Sunday. If you ask me, I would have thought that today was Sunday, and I don't get this very often, but when I do, I'm gonna enjoy the heck out of it. Okay. What else? By the way, I think you can see it from. Let me share a few thoughts about my vision for the farm. This is not the first iteration. This is not even the third iteration of my farm. If you look back in my videos, I've gone through every single configuration. I've had pieces of egg crate here all around. I've had. What else did I do? I've done the kind of half and half. I've done everything. And I've raised things up. So I've had very tall racks, like 6-7 inches, and I lowered them to be almost non-existent. And I've looked at a lot of videos. I look at a lot of reefers out there, and that's super helpful because they have lots of good ideas. And then, like, you look at for example, Pirates Reef, somebody like him, this guy is a wizard, and if he does something like I want to be able to do something similar, but I don't have the same skill or the same thumb as he does. Like, he's just next level, and so are many other great reefers out there. But I do whatever I can on my own. And just kind of trying to hold the fort here. Yeah, so that's kind of. But coming back to my vision, so my vision for this tank is I want this thing to be as well organized as possible. So right now it's kind of a mess, and I want to move things around so that. Everything is grouped together by color, by species, by just having the right type of flow for things, something like that. And I want to. Oh, look at that! There's so much stuff here as well. It's good. And I'm kind of splitting it. So I want some grow out colonies right over here. There is some kind of LPS section right over here, and some of the things that. Don't require very strong flow, and then the frags are over here, and then again towards the center, this is where the highest power is, and off to the sides it's a little bit less. So I'm just kind of doing a little bit of both to kind of balance things out. But look at this. So you see how awesome this frag system is. This is something that I've designed myself and created it, and it's all modular. So what that means is I can, if I want to grow it, I can grow and I can extend it. If I'm not using part of it, I can just dismantle it, clean it, and then it's as good as new. And the awesome thing is I have this concept of plates. By the way, you don't really need the plates. You can use the standard egg crate as well. Which has its own benefits, but I like the plates, and this is what I use. And when I need to clean underneath the rack, which is exactly what I'm doing right now, I can just move one of the plates, and off I go. It's that simple. It's awesome. And then if I'm working on a bunch of frags, I can lift them up and take this plate, and I can place it, because it has little legs, I can place it on my working desk, examine it. If I need to do something to them, I can. if I need to dip things, whatever, I can just do it, and then I can kind of come back and place it back into the system. So that's kind of my farm. And I still think that I can do better. I still think, and that Euro race is, I think it's taking so much space. So one thing that I've kind of been experimenting a little bit is placing the corals at an angle. Oh, look at this! So many copepelts here, and I have all this starfish. It's pretty awesome. But anyways, so I've been experimenting a little bit more with other setups and just trying to figure out what is the best. So, and it's kind of fun to do this type of videos and document things, because eventually, when something works, you can share it with others, and then you can always kind of go back and see and compare. So that I think this is kind of the best that my tank ever looked, or maybe I can do this a little bit better, etc., etc. So, anyways, let me check my messages. Maybe there's a few things that you've brought up. I was just on the other side of the tank and just kind of cleaning these corals off a little bit. Oh, there's so much junk over here as well. I gotta do something about it. All that detritus, I gotta really get in here. My goal is to have zero detritus, similar to like Demo when he's got things in his tank, or a few of those fancy Instagram bloggers. Did you know I have an Instagram? And I try to post quite regularly, but I have not seen as much growth there as I have on my YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel, okay, here's a guess. How soon, what day, how many days from now I'm going to hit 8,000 subscribers? Write in the comments below. And I wish listen, if you're in Toronto, I'll just give you a frag if you guess correctly. But it's it's not super fair to all the other folks that are listening. But I'll still do it just because. Why not? But I got to come up with something better. And speaking of giveaways, there's definitely going to be a cool giveaway very soon. So stay tuned for that as well. Like that, something is coming. I've got something pretty cool lined up. So it's gonna be awesome. Okay, let me check my schedule. Sorry, my messages here in the comments, because I've got something awesome coming up afterwards as well. Okay. I've got Tamini tank with an angel and love them. With a cherub angel. Nice. Love it. Okay. This is where we are at today. I think we're gonna call it a day, just because I've got some plans after this. But I want to say thank you for joining in. More importantly, please share my YouTube channel or my Instagram with your friends. I'm really trying to make a big push this year and next year in the social aspect of it, and I'm kind of trying to do this. So if you can share on your Facebook or on your groups, the ones that you follow, because some folks don't know about the channel. How dare they? And that would go a long way. One final plug. Check out Aquatic Log. This is the app that I develop and I program at night, on the weekends, and this is kind of my baby. I've been doing it for 11 years. You can find my tank there. There's a link below where you can see all the details about my aquariums and what I do and my parameters, everything. I'm very transparent about this. And I want to say that I've just added a brand new feature. There's actually a couple. I'll probably talk more about it next time, but I'm doing calculating redox potential. I'm also allowing now for users to be able to manage other people's aquariums. So you can share your aquarium with others, and you can do that. And the other cool thing about my program is that you can use as many iPhones and Androids and website to access your data. It's not like if you, God forbid, drop your phone into the water and you lose it or whatever, that you've lost all the data that you've accumulated. And you can always export it and save it to your Excel or whatever. Anyways, that would be today's. Thank you very much for joining. I want to say happy holidays. This is probably the last. Well, I don't know if it's going to be the last live stream. Maybe it is, maybe not. It's my one right here. But anyways, thank you for dialing in, share it, and I wish you all the best in 2023 and more importantly 2024. Goodbye. And stream.